You know that feeling you get when something doesn't feel right, but you can't explain why? Like when you're alone in a room, and suddenly, it feels like you're not. That's how it started for me. I live at the edge of a small town, where the streetlights stop and the woods begin. Nothing ever really happens out here. Just old houses, gravel roads, and the sound of crickets. But a few months ago, I started hearing something at night. It was faint at first, just crying, real quiet, coming from the trees. I thought it was a fox, maybe a neighbor's kid. You hear strange things out here, but it didn't stop. Night after night, it came back. Same time, same sound, a low, broken kind of sobbing, like someone who's been crying for hours, like it hurt. First, I stayed inside. I told myself I was imagining it, but deep down, I knew better. One night, I grabbed a flashlight and I stepped off the porch, and that's when everything changed. This all happened during the summer of 2006. I was living in a small rental house about 5 miles outside a town most people never heard of. The kind of place with one gas station, a bar that closes too early, and woods that go on for miles. The house sat at the very end of a dead-end road, just past the last streetlight. No neighbors on either side, just trees, all the way around. Thick ones, too, the kind that block out the moon when you look out your window at night. During the day, it felt peaceful, quiet. You could hear birds, wind in the trees, sometimes the distant rumble of a truck on the highway if the wind was right. But at night, it felt different. I don't know how else to say it. The quiet changed. It wasn't just calm, it was heavy, like the house was holding its breath. There were no cars driving by, no porch lights in the distance, just darkness, and the kind of silence that makes you start hearing things that aren't there. A floorboard creak, a branch tapping the window, or something moving just outside the glass, right where the porch light doesn't reach. Back then, I didn't think much of it. I just told myself it was all in my head. I was out in the woods. It was bound to feel a little creepy sometimes, but I didn't know that feeling wasn't going away. In fact, it was only getting started. First, it was little things, nothing big, nothing that screamed danger, just stuff I couldn't explain. I'd wake up in the morning and find the porch light on. I always turned it off before bed. I made sure of that, every night. Then one day, I came home from work, and the back door was cracked open. Not wide, just a little, enough to make me stop. I stood there, keys still in my hand, just staring at it. I hadn't opened that door in days. I don't even use it. I checked the whole house, every room, every closet. Nothing, nobody there. So I locked everything up, told myself I probably just forgot, even though I knew I didn't. A few nights later, I was laying in bed, almost asleep, when I heard something. It was soft, barely there, like the wind was carrying it. It sounded like someone crying. I sat up, thinking maybe it was a kid. Maybe one of the neighbors' kids wandered too far. But there are no kids out here. No neighbors close enough to hear from my bedroom. I got up, walked to the window, and just stood there. The sound was coming from the woods. It wasn't loud. It wasn't screaming. Just slow, tired sobs. The kind of crying that makes your stomach turn. Not like someone throwing a fit. More like someone who gave up. I opened the window and leaned out a little. Tried to listen. But the second I did that, it stopped. Just like that. Like it knew I was listening. I stood there for a while, just staring into the dark. Nothing moved. Not even the trees. And then, just as I turned away, I thought I saw something. A shadow. Just for a second. Standing near the tree line. Tall. Still. But when I looked again, it was gone. I didn't sleep much that night. After that night, couldn't let it go. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe a dream. Maybe I was overtired. That's what I kept saying. But every time I walked past that window, I found myself staring at the woods, like I was waiting to see something. One Saturday morning, I decided to check it out. I waited until the sun was high and the air felt normal again. I grabbed my flashlight, even though it was the middle of the day and I went into the trees. I told myself I was just gonna look around, just to prove there was nothing out there. Nothing weird, no one hiding, no tracks, no crying. But maybe part of me wanted to find something. Maybe I already knew I would. I walked for about 10 minutes, deeper than I'd ever gone. The trees got tighter. The ground felt soft in spots, like it had been dug up before. Then I saw something sticking out from the dirt. Piece of fabric. I thought it was trash at first, but when I pulled it out, it was a little shirt. Torn, muddy, still had a tag inside. Size 5T. I kept going. I don't know why. Not far from there, I found a shoe. Tiny one. White with a pink stripe on the side. Old. Worn through the sole. Then I found the doll. It was sitting upright against a tree like someone placed it there. The face was faded and cracked. One eye missing. It was the kind of thing you look at and just feel cold. That's when I heard it again. The crying. Soft just like before. But this time, it felt closer. I spun around with the flashlight. Looked in every direction. Nothing. But I swear to you, it felt like someone was watching me. I backed out of there fast. Didn't run. Just moved as steady as I could, keeping my ears open the whole way. By the time I got back to the house, I was shaking. I told a friend about it later that night. Someone I've known for years. She just laughed. Said maybe a raccoon dragged out some old junk. I didn't argue. I didn't even push it. I could hear myself starting to sound crazy. But I couldn't stop thinking about that doll. How it looked like it had been waiting. After I found that doll, things got worse. The crying didn't stop. It got louder. It didn't just stay out in the woods anymore. Now I could hear it right outside the house. Right outside my window. Every night around 2 or 3 in the morning, it would start. Always soft. Always slow. Like someone had been crying for hours. Like they couldn't stop. Sometimes I'd sit up in bed, holding my breath, just listening. And it always sounded the same. Like it was coming from the tree line. But other nights, it was closer. Too close. One night, I swear it was right by the porch. I couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. I had to know what it was. So I got up, threw on a jacket, took my flashlight, and I went outside. The second I stepped off the porch, the crying stopped. Like it was waiting for me. The air was cold. Still, not a single branch moved. I walked straight toward the woods. Didn't call anyone. Didn't bring a weapon. I don't even think I locked the door behind me. I just walked. The trees swallowed me up fast. The deeper I went, the harder it was to hear anything but my own breathing. Then the crying started again. But this time it wasn't behind me. It was ahead. That sound, it didn't echo. It didn't move. It just sat there, pulling me toward it. I kept walking, flashlight shaking in my hand. And then I saw her, under a tree, pale, barefoot, her back to me, shoulders shaking, crying so quietly it sounded like wind. She wasn't moving. Not her feet, not her hands, just her shoulders. Like something had broken inside her and couldn't be fixed. I froze. I wanted to turn around. I should have turned around. But I didn't. I called out. Just one word. Hello. And that's when she stopped crying. Just stopped. Like a switch got flipped. Then she moved. Not slowly. Not like a person. She snapped around. Her face was wrong. Too white. Her eyes. They weren't eyes. They were black. Wide open. Like holes punched in paper. I don't remember running. I don't remember how I got home. All I know is I slammed the door, locked every bolt, and sat with my back against it until the sun came up. And I swear, for the rest of that night, I could hear her outside. I didn't stop running until I hit the road. My lungs were burning. My legs barely worked. But I didn't care. I just needed to get home. When I got to the edge of the trees, I looked up, and that's when I saw it. My front door, wide open. Now, I knew I locked it. I remember hearing the bolt slide. I always checked the door, but there it was, swinging slow, just enough to creak, like someone had walked in right after I left. I didn't want to go in. Every part of me said don't do it. But it was my house, my home, so I stepped inside. It was quiet, but not the normal kind. It was too quiet. No hum from the fridge, no clicks from the pipes, no wind through the vents, just nothing, like the whole place was holding its breath. I moved through the living room. Everything looked normal, nothing broken, nothing taken, but it didn't feel right. The air was heavy, still, like it didn't belong to me anymore. Then I heard it again, the crying, but this time it wasn't outside. It was inside, in the house. It was faint like before, but clearer, closer. It was coming from the hallway. I followed it. Step by step, the sound got sharper, slower, like someone was trying to hold it back. I reached the end of the hall. The closet door was shut, but the crying was coming from behind it. I stood there, not moving, not breathing, just listening. And the sound, it wasn't like before. It wasn't just crying. It was whispering, too. A voice, low and broken, like it was saying something over and over, like it was trying to speak through the tears. I couldn't understand the words, but I knew it wasn't mine. That closet, it had been empty for years. I never used it, and in that moment I knew something else did. I didn't go near that closet again. Not that night, not the next, but the crying never stopped. And after a while, I needed to know, not just what was in the house, but where it came from, why it was happening. Why me? I started digging around. Old town records, police reports, anything I could get my hands on. Didn't take long to find something. Back in 1979, there was a missing persons case. A girl, 5 years old, went missing just 2 miles from where my house sits now. She lived in a trailer with her mom. No dad in the picture. One night, the mom called police, said her daughter had gone outside chasing something, and never came back. They searched for days. Dogs, helicopters, volunteers from town. Nothing. But the mother swore she kept hearing her outside the trailer, crying, every night, just like me. They thought she lost her mind, said it was grief, stress, but she stuck to her story until the day she died. I found an old article in the local paper, a blurry photo of the girl standing on a swing, pale hair, bare feet, doll in her hands, the same doll I found under that tree. That's when it hit me. The crying wasn't random. It wasn't even meant for me. It was a loop, like a recording, stuck in time. That little girl, whatever happened to her, she's still out there, repeating the same moment, like she never got to leave it behind. Some nights I turn on the radio just for background noise, helps drown out the sound. But every once in a while, the signal cuts out, and for just a few seconds, I hear her voice, crying, calling for someone, and then silence. I moved, packed up my stuff, left the house behind, and didn't say goodbye to anybody. Didn't even try to sell it. Just left the keys in the mailbox and drove. I figured whatever it was, whatever I'd seen, whatever I'd heard, it was tied to that place, to those woods, to that girl. And if I put enough miles between us, maybe I could finally sleep again. And for a while it worked. I got a new job, found an apartment in a small city, somewhere with traffic and streetlights and people walking dogs at night. Somewhere normal. No woods, no creaking floorboards, just life, quiet and regular. But then one night, I was in bed, half asleep, and my phone buzzed. Voicemail, no missed call, just a message. I picked it up, clicked play, and the second I heard it, my stomach dropped. It was her, the crying. Same rhythm, same sound, just like before. But this time, there was something else. A whisper, real low, right at the end. I had to replay it 3 times before I caught what it said. Found you. I froze, couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I looked at the screen. My hands were shaking. The caller ID didn't say a name, didn't say a number. It just said, location, inside home. That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't gone back to sleep since. I never answered that call. I never will. I don't know how she found me, or why she won't let go. But I've stopped trying to explain it. Some things aren't meant to be understood. I still hear her sometimes. Not every night, but enough to know she's still out there. Still crying. Still waiting. And no matter how far I run, she always knows where to look. Have you ever heard something you couldn't explain? Something you were sure couldn't be real? What would you do if you heard someone crying, but no one was there? If the story kept you listening, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you've got a story of your own, drop it in the comments. Who knows? Maybe next time it'll be your voice they hear in the dark.